What is up, guys? Another Wednesday, another YieldMax distribution announcement. So like I do every Wednesday, I'm just going to go over all of those distributions. We're going to look at them together, see what was good, what was less good. And yeah, just look into these and give my opinion on those payouts that are announced for this Friday, August 1st. So pretty crazy. We're already in August, guys. July is almost done. 2 days left in July. For people who live in America or like North America, that means that winter is coming and not looking forward to that. But I mean, yeah, time is passing by and almost 2026 already. It's freaking crazy. Anyways, let's get into it. So, as you can see, YieldMax announced their distribution this morning at 7 a.m. like they usually do. So today it's pretty exciting actually. So we have MSTY, which is probably the most popular YieldMax single stock ETF. And I think people are a bit disappointed, but we're going to look into it and maybe see why it paid a bit lower than usual. And then obviously we have the fan favorite. We have ULTY for a third week in a row that is above 10 cents. So I'm pretty glad about that. And YieldMax still a pretty decent, almost 17 cents, so 16.46. Pretty good payout from YieldMax. Here is the press release where they show all the numbers and the distribution rates for all of them. And like I usually do, I extracted everything. So this Friday, we'll get the payouts from Group D monthly ETFs, as well as the weekly like we do every single week. So here I extracted everything into an Excel sheet so it's easier to see. All right, so I ordered them by distribution rate. And as we can see this week, we haven't gotten as much 100% payers. We only got one from SMCY, so the YieldMax option income on SMCY. And as we can see, it paid $1.85 with a distribution rate of 106%. Then ULTY, we got our 10-cent distribution for a third week in a row, which brings us to another week of an 85% distribution rate. So ULTY, every week if you watch my videos, I keep saying that ULTY is doing very good, and another week of ULTY doing very good. So congrats on anyone who's holding ULTY. Personally, I bought ULTY 2 weeks ago, and I really hope that they keep doing what they're doing. For now, I'm very happy with my holdings and the distributions I'm getting. We got XYZY, which is the option income on the block stock, which pays 82%, still very good. Anything above 75%, I won't complain. Then we got MSTY, which paid 75%, so a bit disappointing, but still 75 is very good. And we got Winter, which is the invert of MSTY, which paid 65%. So I mean, both MSTY and Winter did pay a good amount. Then we got LFGY, which paid 65%, so week after week, LFGY has been pretty consistent. If here I'm on last week's distribution, it paid 62%, and this week it's 65% and 47 cents. So still, LFGY is still very consistent on the distribution per share. Then we got YieldMax, which paid 16 cents, so a bit lower than last week, but still 16 cents. Anything above 15 cents, I think, is very good for YieldMax. Then we got AIYY, 58%, Amazon 50%, Apple 40%. Obviously, Amazon and Apple are not as volatile, hence that's why they paid those lower distribution rates, but still 40 to 50% is still very good. Then RDTY 39%, Chippy 39%, GPTY 34%, YMAG pretty disappointing 25% with a 7-cent distribution. DSO paid 25%, QDTY 19%, YQQQ, which is the invert of the Nasdaq, only 16%. I mean, nothing too crazy. And then SDTY, 16%. Obviously, this one is on the S&P, so it's probably the less volatile out of all of these, but still 16% for 0DT. It's quite on the lower side. Probably the team trading at YieldMax, they have higher strike prices. They leave more breathing room for the upside. Let's look at the top dogs. So let's start with SMCY. So SMCY paid 106%. So congrats to anyone holding SMCY. Let me know in the comments if you have any shares of that. Personally, I don't. 106%, obviously, that means that in less than 12 months, if they keep doing that, you would get your investment back. Here's SMCY implied volatility. And as you can see, it's been a bit higher than last month, this month. So this month, it's been around 7-8, where last month, it's been in the 2-3-4. So that's one of the reasons why they've been able to pay 100% plus. And on top of the implied volatility that is rising, as we can see here, the blue line, we have the stock price that is rising. They're making money on their covered calls. And if they're using call spread, so if they're also buying calls at a higher price, they're probably getting assigned. So that means that they're able to capture even more upside and more premium for us. So I mean, selling cover calls is good, and on top of that, the underlying is going up, so that's even better. So that allows SMCY to pay that high distribution. Congrats to anyone holding this, and hopefully this keeps going on. Now from MSTI, as you can see, the underlying MSTR, if we look at the 1-year implied volatility, we're nowhere near what we used to be in terms of implied volatility, but it is still higher than it used to be in June. In the month of July, it's been higher, and it looks like the implied volatility is slowly climbing, but still nothing crazy, nothing like it used to be when they used to pay $2 plus distributions. So really, YieldMax can't do much about that. Like, it really depends on the underlying's implied volatility. So the implied volatility did go up a little bit, but it's still not as high as SMCI, for example. And as we can see here, yes, the stock went up, but it's also going down a little bit. That does not help with the option trading as well. I feel like Bitcoin right now is on a bull run, and there's a lot of things happening in the crypto world. Hopefully that implied volatility will go back up pretty soon, but we'll still have to see what happens with the underlying. XYZ paid 82%, which is more than MSTY. And as we can see here, that's probably why. We see the purple line here is the implied volatility, and it's probably news or something happened, but as you can see, it pretty much blew up here. The stock price is going up, and the implied volatility just went up like crazy. So that is why YieldMax has been able to get that 85% distribution rate. And if it keeps going like this, they might reach a 100% distribution rate in the next months. We don't know. Now for Amazon and Apple, these ones are more blue chip stocks. So here, as we can see, the implied volatility is pretty much sideways, nothing too crazy. Here, it kind of went up in the month of July. I'm not sure how YieldMax was able to take advantage of this. But like I said, if the implied volatility keeps going up and the underlying keeps going up, we might see some super big distributions coming up in the next months from AMZY. Same thing for Apple. Apple here is pretty much sideways on the implied volatility. It's kind of going sideways and going up a little bit. So not too bad for Apple. Despite having an implied volatility that is nothing too crazy compared to the other ones, they've still been able to extract a 40% distribution. We'll have to see if the rising implied volatility right now of basically the whole stock market will help the Group D's next distribution. I wanted to give a quick look at ULTY because ULTY has been paying 85 cents regardless of the market condition for the past 3 weeks. And I was just curious to see what were their holdings and how come they've been able to extract a nice juicy premium week after week. I was just curious to see what stock they've been trading, and as you can see, every week they keep changing their stocks and they pull in those high IV stocks. Here, those are their top holdings at the moment as of July 30th. They're holding 4.5% of Reddit, 4.6% of Upstart. They have MicroStrategy, Coin, NewScale, Vertiv for Solar, Rebius, AppLovin, Vistra, IonQ, Rigetti Computing. They have SMCY, Supermicrocomputer, Oklo. They have Robinhood, Mara, eNode, Space Mobile, Applied Optoelectronics, Tempest AI. They have Palantir, Tesla, Snapchat, Galaxy, Qualcomm. They have Meta. You're wondering why they have Meta. We'll see that in a second. They have Bitmine, Immersion Technology, and then they have some cash stuff. So now let's see why they have all of these. It's pretty obvious when you go to the August earnings here. So today we're July 30th, like I said, and now look at this. Today we have Microsoft, we have Meta, we have Robinhood. So the markets are going to shake today, and ULTY is holding a lot of these. And tomorrow we have Apple, Amazon, and Reddit, and Coinbase. If you guys have been watching my videos, I was saying that I'm excited to see what ULTY will do during their earnings. I had a suspicion that since ULTY has a lot of flexibility, they might pull in some stocks right before earnings inside their underlyings. So then when the earnings come out and the stocks move like crazy, the implied volatility spikes and they're able to generate that crazy premium. And I was pretty much right. So as we saw at the moment, ULTY is holding a bunch of stocks where, as we can see, the earnings are coming up. They're holding Meta, they're holding Hood, they're holding Coinbase, they're holding Reddit. They're even holding Palantir, which is on August 4th. I'm not sure if they're going to hold AMD. Maybe they're going to pull in Uber, Shopify. Hopefully they do. We'll see. I'm very, very excited to see next week's ULTY payout, as well as the total market. I think that right now the VIX is going to spike and the implied volatility is going to go up since we're in the earnings season. Usually every year, August and September are pretty shaky months for the stock market. So things are going to move this month. And I feel like on the tech side, we might get some good revenues for most of these companies. I feel like things have been doing pretty well in the tech economy, in the AI space and the crypto space as of recent. That's just how I feel. We'll have to see what the numbers actually show. Let me know what you guys think. See, they even have this company which have earnings today, which I have no idea what it is, VRT. And as you can see, VRT here. So really they've just pulled in all of these good companies that are having earnings. And if OT is able to milk all of these stocks when they have earnings, we might see a 11-cent distributions in the next week or two. So let me know in the comments if you think that is something possible or that would be too much for OT. Let's see how much you would have got paid if you owned 100, 1,000, or 10,000 shares of each of them. So if you hold 1,000 shares of SMCY, you would got 1.8k. ULTY, you got $100, obviously, because it's a 10-cent distribution. XYZY, you would have got $678. MSTY, you would have got 1.1k, so still pretty good. Winter, 1.6. LFGY, $475. YieldMax, 165. AIYY, 180. Amazon, 641. Apple, 410. RDTY, 346. Chippy, 415. GPTY, 315. YMAG pretty low, 75. Personally, I don't like YMAG because they're kind of just holding those magnificent 7. And I know that's the point of the fund, but I prefer YMAX. I prefer holding everything and kind of getting a bit of everything than being focused on those 7 companies. And then DSO, 273. QDTY, 170. YQQQ, 180. And SDTY 146. So now for my personal payouts. So this is all that I own from YieldMax at the moment. I'm planning to buy around 300 to 400 shares of YieldMax this month. I'll keep you guys updated. So my number of share is going to increase by a good amount this month. But as of now, this Friday, I will receive $50.40 from ULTY. From YieldMax, I have 1,359 shares. I'll receive $223. And from MSTY, I only have 70 shares because I just bought a little bit to test out the waters a few months ago. And it's been pretty consistent. So I'll be receiving $82 US for a total of $350 US. So after converting to Canadian and removing the withholding tax, I'll receive it in the $450, I think. So yeah, guys, that was it for today's overview of YieldMax distribution for the payout of this Friday, August 1st. Let me know in the comments what you guys are getting, how many shares you have if you want to share. I think it's pretty exciting. And like I said, we have a lot of earnings coming up. So I'm excited to see what the market has to offer. And I have a good feeling about the upcoming week. I feel like regardless of good or bad news that are coming from all of the earnings, the VIX is going to spike a bit. The implied volatility for all of these stocks is going to move up. So we might see some increasing distributions from all of these YieldMax monthly payers and weekly payers. So I'm just excited to see what's coming up for all of these YieldMax ETFs. So yeah, guys, until next time, take care.